Yeah.
So bad. Already, you're on live, so you can still do it, Sue. What do you think? You on mute, Sue?
Oh, what? Sorry.
Thumbs down, so it's official.
We're already live.
Good evening, world.
Yes. Hey, you know what? We need to do it like Wayne's World.
Yeah.
There you go. See? She gets it. Ooh, you might be losing your job over this one.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Party on.
All right.
Party on, Chuck.
And I'm sporting a hockey attire for a reason tonight. I go to Development League tomorrow night. So I'm going to actually learn how to stop on the ice, hopefully, in the next 2-3 months. So I'm not smashing people and running them over.
See, I keep telling you, I need to show up just so I can heckle you. You are not redeeming yourself in any way, shape, or form. Just so you know.
Just show up to Breck Hockey Ice Rink tomorrow night at 9:30 or later for an hour and a half, up till 11. And you can laugh all you want. You can get all the video. You wouldn't be the first one to take video of me in a fail. So
we got to get some.
Yeah, so old Dr. Christine Bartholomew has got plenty of footage on me of spending time on my side or back or ass or front, smashing my head on the ground probably, who knows what. Anyway, getting back to business here, ladies and gentlemen. We have a special guest tonight, this evening, Sue. I like that expression, Sue.
I'm not a special guest, so
and Pete, you know that's the usual threesome here. And our special guest, I don't know what side she's on yours, but she's on my left side, Sarah. And I'll let her introduce herself. Tonight's agenda, what we're going to do is Sarah is going to give you ideas on resumes for blue-collar trades types of jobs. She's a hiring manager, been one for a long time. She's going to give you some great do's and probably more importantly, some don'ts. So Sarah, do you want to introduce yourself? And you got the screen share whenever you're ready.
Sure. Yep, so I'm Sarah Farstead. I did 11 years in the Army, 4 of them active duty, 1 tour through Iraq in 2008. And then the Army Reserves, where I met Sue, and finished out my 11 years there before moving back to the wonderful state of South Dakota. Since I've been back here, I've been at a company called Worth Electronics, and for the last 5 years, I've been an operations manager, including hiring a lot of folks. We have a lot of vets in our company, and I found out even more over Veterans Day when I accidentally forgot a few of them in a shout out, so good lesson learned there. But yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of resumes come across. I hire for purchasing, and I also hire for warehouse. So 2 jobs that rely more heavily on experience, not necessarily degrees or certificates. So I do have some fun things to show, some live examples. I've pretty much covered the names. I don't think we'll have anybody's names out there. And I know, Pete, feel free to jump in too with your stuff on resume covering and tips.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely.
So first and foremost, readable and legible. Those are huge criteria. And the grammar, and huge. Don't have spelling mistakes. Don't have formatting mistakes. It only takes a few minutes to have somebody review your resume. Those little things right away go to your attention to detail. So if you're coming in and you're telling an employer you're detail oriented and your resume has all these little grammar errors or formatting errors, those jump out. And so then I would discourage you from saying you're detail oriented if your resume has a few holes in it. Let's see if I get my screen share.
Hey, Sarah, I'm gonna plug a couple things for these guys. One, Grammarly. So they have a free service. It doesn't check things at a PhD level. It'll probably give it to you at a high school graduate level, which should be good enough.
That's a plugin, right?
What's that?
That's a plugin for your browser. So if you're typing
free.
online.
Yep, it's great. The basic one's fantastic. I use the premium one because of what I do for a living. but there's no need to spend the $100 a year or $150, whatever it is. And there's 2 great resume generators when it comes to the formatting that she's talking about that we've used in the past with success. And one's My Perfect Resume, and resume.com is free. So you should be able to use one of those 2, and it won't look like a soup sandwich. Okay. That's all I got to say.
All right, let's see if I can get this. Let's see. What screen are you seeing? Are you seeing my Zoom window or are you seeing resumes?
I see
Resumes.
Resumes.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so this is one of those formatting ones that makes it very difficult to read. Using a unique font, stick to your basics, Arial, Calibri, however you say that, Times New Roman. The italicized font makes it very difficult to read this resume. As you start getting down into experience, I have a hard time seeing where does one job stop and where does the next one start? Kind of what were you doing in there? This is a very difficult to read resume. So using a nice, clean, straight font stands out more than using this, because for me, I'm probably not even going to look at this once I start talking to you because I have a hard time reading it. As an interviewer, you don't want to spend your whole time looking at somebody's resume or trying to decipher it. You'd rather have that face-to-face conversation. So if I can just glance at your resume and see what you're telling me, it makes it a lot easier for us to have a good conversation about your job skills.
It's kind of sad because, that person was intentional about trying to be different, and they ended up really shooting themselves in the foot.
Yep, it made it really hard to read. The generic setup is okay, but yeah, the font alone makes it hard to read. We talked, formatting. Here's a good example of someone who uses multiple formatting styles and they don't make a lot of sense. So we've got this job, and now we've got a bulleted list of what looks like kind of what they did. And then you come down to the next one, and here's like a short list. Maybe they couldn't remember everything that they did. And now we get into a paragraph that kind of runs together. I think it looks like a multiple list, but it's in a run-on paragraph.
That's a run-on sentence. That's pretty...
Kind of a mess.
Yeah, and that cleaning jewelry, setting up displays, there's no separation between those.
Capitalization of setting, and I mean, I'm not a grammar guy, but that one stands out pretty good to me. Yeah.
Yep.
The problem is you get the impression, you get the strong impression that they're really not very interested in doing this right. So the person who's reading it will convey that too. And tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, you just like, if they didn't care to do the fine work, I don't care to read it.
Exactly. And for the things that I look for, in most jobs, your attention to detail is going to be very important because it either goes directly into the safety aspect of your job or the actual, whatever you're moving or doing. Very few jobs anymore are just very basic and rudimentary. You need to have attention to detail.
Yeah.
Okay, so, do you mind saying that again for these guys to drive it home through their heads?
Yeah, the attention to detail is huge. It doesn't matter what the job is. Every single job has a level of details that you're going to need to know. Lots of times, especially in the blue collar world, it comes right down to safety. And so if you don't have attention to detail in the safety aspects of your job, you're going to get hurt. Somebody else is going to get hurt. The job is going to suffer a loss for whatever reason. So your resume right away is going to tell the interviewer truly how detail oriented you actually are. So this was a great one. This was just a mess. I don't know what she was really, thinking, or just to me, it says, I threw this together in a hot, fast hurry. I didn't even look at it. I just sent it out blind. So yeah, that's
my guess would be it's not really addressing the needs of the position.
Yeah.
Applying for it.
Can I ask you what the role is that this person would have been applying for? Is it for a medical assistant?
This is a warehouse receiving team member.
Okay, so as a hiring manager, what things on this resume stand out that would be needed for the skills that you were hiring for?
In most of these, somebody coming out of the medical field, generally, if you're doing coding and patient charts, you need to have a level of detail. And that's kind of what we would take from a medical background. If somebody's been doing this and they want to come into my job, if you can do medical coding and you can do, what are some of these other ones on here? Scheduling, you know, some of those that require you to use multiple databases, different formats, different software. That's what I would try to glean out of this, is how much they did unique detail, independent detail work.
So this human made you work for that conclusion though, right?
A little bit. It was, we had to, from her resume, I really didn't know what she was bringing into us at all.
Okay, so listen up, everybody. You want to make this as easy as possible for someone like Sarah to say, wow, I need someone who can pick orders, get them on the conveyor belt over to the pick station or whatever it goes to next, and get them on the truck and out the door with a high level of accuracy. And cleaning rooms is necessary, may not be a transferable skill unless the bathroom needs to be cleaned. Inpatient scheduling sounds like that's a deal, but I don't know about CAT scans. I don't know about entering lab orders. You can say that you know how to enter orders, right? So there's some transferable stuff in here, but she's going to be scratching her head a little bit. Chances are she's just going to go on to the next 20 resumes and find someone who can actually make her life easier, because at the end of the day, as the boss, you want people that make your life easier, not more difficult.
And, you know, if there's a duty or responsibility you have in your current role or a past role that in no way relates to what this new job is asking for, leave it off. You don't need to put everything on your resume. The resume is supposed to is to sell you into that interview. And that's all you needed to do.
Picking up cigarette butts and basic training, Pete. Is that a critical thing for any job except for picking up cigarette butts if you're working for the Parks Department?
Exactly, unless you're, you know, going into some sort of a environmentally friendly or, you know, sensitive job. There's nothing about picking up cigarette butts. You'd have to be really creative to skew that duty to make it work for what you're applying for. So, in other words, no.
Okay, thank you. Right. Sorry, Sarah.
Nope, that's good. It's good. Okay, so here's another one. So I do like bullets, but I like bullet points that talk to me. So this was a gal that we interviewed, and her bullets, now her formatting is okay, but her bullets don't tell me actually what she did. So I've got a great example coming up here we'll get to about the right way to use bullets to really get your point across. This left a lot of questions for me. I happened to work at a Dollar General for a year, so I could speak the lingo in this one. But my colleague that was interviewing with me, to him, this was a junk resume because there was no understanding. Again, this is all for the same position, this receiving warehouse clerk. So for us, it meant nothing looking at her Dollar General history, and yet that was one of her most recent employment experiences. As we talked about it, we learned that there was a lot of independence, a lot of get it done type of tasks. But in this case, the resume itself, we pretty much almost didn't even interview her because it was so generic. What are you bringing to this job? You've done some stuff, but it doesn't tell me what you actually did for a job. Let's see. So I'm going to transition that right over. Oh, I got one more really good one. So this one is almost there, but it's too busy.
Don't wait.
All this stuff down the side, it clutters up the resume too much. I really don't like these skill sets along these lines. And I'd rather talk to you about that than to have it cluttering up your resume. One of the things that she did great here is this kind of a work history. She's got how long she was there, her title, the company, and then some really nice, like Pete, you talked about this before, quantifiable bullets. What did you do? Now I can see, here's some of the things that you were responsible for in your last job. I can pick out things that I like and I can elaborate on those with you because I have an understanding of what you've done in your previous jobs. I know we've said it before, what you have for a degree or certificate doesn't always matter as much as the experience and the variety that you're bringing into the job. So what do you have that I don't have on my teams? What are you bringing that I don't already have that I can use, that I can take advantage of your skills and experience in this position?
Another thing is that when you send a resume in that's divided by columns, you really risk it going flying apart in the database, because it's sort of like Star Trek and the transporter. When you energize, so to speak, your resume into the database, and they reintegrate it on the other end, it's not going to come out the same. And columns only fight with the databases in that. So, just word to the wise.
Yep, exactly. And us as an employer, one of our primary marketing for job openings between the state's Department of Labor website is Indeed. So Indeed definitely has some very specific formatting that you can either upload or manually enter in your resume on. So that, like Pete was saying, that makes a huge difference on the formatting and how that looks on the other end. So this is like an 80% almost awesome resume. Honestly, I could care less if you put what you're looking for objective at the top of your resume.
Ooh,
I really want to know. Everybody wants a
scales
job.
on the chalkboard for Pete.
What's
Objective
that?
statements.
Right.
Objective statements. Hey, one other thing I would like to say about resumes. If you have a LinkedIn profile, and I get that we're not really in the LinkedIn realm this evening, but you can actually click resume at the top of your LinkedIn profile, and it'll generate a 2-page resume for you. So
Nice.
there's one more source.
Yeah, I don't really like that, because they get their material from everybody else. They lift it from everybody else's profile, and Microsoft has a deal with them. So you can actually start it in Word, and when it says, it looks like you're writing a resume, can I help you? And it'll go out to LinkedIn and start pulling in other people's material.
Oh.
It's stealing. Let's be fair.
But it's better than 3 resumes ago that she showed.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
But that's
I'm an originalist. Sorry.
That's a great segue as well. We've talked LinkedIn. If you put your LinkedIn profile on here, I am absolutely going to go look at your LinkedIn profile and see what's on there. I'm also going to go to your Facebook page, and I'm going to creep your Facebook page, and I'm going to see what you're posting and what's public and what your photos look like and what kind of a character are you when you're off time. So if you are applying for a job, remember your Facebook is fair game. So if you've got a bunch of raunchy or inappropriate or very drama-inducing stuff on there, just saying, that could definitely influence whether or not you'll be hired, because nobody wants drama in their work.
I gotta say it. I'm looking at that skills graph or the skills scale over there.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that was a nice idea, but all the scales are different. I mean, they end, like the first one ends with average, or the first few end with average, and then very good and excellent. So they're not to the same scale. So if you transpose scheduling and calendar management with the same scale as telephone etiquette, it isn't even going to show up, if you know what I mean.
Right.
If you're into that. So really, I look at that, I go, average, she didn't even meet average. That's below average. So anyway, that's just, sorry. I couldn't help it.
Good point.
I noticed that, man. That was bad. That's a nice try, but you totally blew it.
Yep, exactly.
Like telling a bad joke. You're risking a lot when you tell a bad joke, you know.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's another one. This one, okay, so oops, let me hide that a little bit there. Believe it or not, I actually hired this gal, even though her resume says nothing. She's got essentially one job on there, and didn't really tell a whole lot about what she did. Thankfully, what happened in this case is that she had a phone interview, a screening that went really well, and she actually interviewed significantly better than her resume set out.
So you're saying you rewarded bad behavior?
We actually gave feedback with her afterwards, and then rewrote this after we hired her. Okay. So just to have it.
If she was a good hire, you shouldn't have done that, because you probably made her more marketable.
Well, I ended up letting her go anyway, so maybe I should have read the writing on the wall with the resume. We all have those. The job just wasn't a good fit, and the interview went well, but what I missed on this resume was just not highly detail oriented, and I needed that, and I should have said, don't do this. fantastic person, but this resume tells me nothing. This is somebody who hasn't worked before in their life. She was, 20 years past high school and only had one job on her resume. So there's a big gap in there as well. Make sure you don't leave gaps. If you have a gap in your employment, be able to explain it. I deployed, was a stay-at-home parent. Something that happened, you can have gaps, just be able to explain it. And that's the best thing you can do in those cases. Okay, this is my favorite one. This is a good example of really how to do a resume. Whoops, let me hide that a little bit. Kind of back to the ones where we've got the company, we've got the job description, and then we've got some really great bullet points. The font is readable, it's simple, it's clear, it allows us to have talking points during the interview. I can glance down, I can pick a quick bullet statement and continue talking in a great conversational manner. And she even included, why she left the previous positions. You feel free to do that, or feel free to just be able to talk it with the interviewee or interviewer in the moment. So she's got all of her time here, her jobs, why she was where she was and why she left. She's still on my team. She's a fantastic employee. She's even applied for some of the other positions that we have and is looking to kind of do some different stuff. So this is, for me, in a blue collar job, this is how I'm going to know if what you've done in your previous life is going to transfer into what we're going to teach you doing our job. It also goes down to how much have you learned in previous jobs? Have you been exposed to a variety of software systems, techniques, processes? How well did you assimilate to that new job and pick it up? But yeah, those are just a few examples of maybe what to do, and then more importantly, what not to do when you are writing your resumes.
Nice lesson into what to do, what not to do.
So today I was talking to a company that we may be partnering with soon, and they talked about the same thing with the resume here with me today, that TAP does a good job for what it is. But those resumes that you showed, the first couple look very tappy to me, and I think that a lot of these guys that are transitioning, really hurt themselves by not taking that opportunity with TAP to transition a hell of a lot easier than what they do. And hopefully with what we do here, it gives you guys some, kind of an attitude check on how you need to transition into the real world again a little bit more seriously. Because, here you've got someone who's hiring. I mean, Sarah, you probably got a revolving door over there of hiring and people leaving on their own for a better job or whatever all the time, right? So you got people coming and going. And
Not really.
Oh, okay. You guys must have a really good environment then.
Environment and benefits. Yep, we definitely and we train people to their desks when they threaten to leave, so they can't leave. So we got that.
That's what they did with me at Accenture. You have no idea how tired and bruised my ankles would get. And
those.
I'm leaving San Antonio, dude. It's like, what? Okay. But I think that the basics need to be a well-formatted, articulate what you did and how it translates over to what you want to do. Because every military job's got transferable skills. I don't care if you were Klinger or whatever in MASH, or if you were Rambo. Even Rambo had some skills. He learned how to turn around on the bridge or whatever, right? And then 7 movies happened. That last one was bad. Oh my goodness, that was bad. I couldn't watch it. The Tunnels.
Mediocrity.
Yeah, or Idiocracy. Yeah. But so I put in the chat over here. So Sean Hammer apparently sucks at interviews and resumes. Well, Sean, you're not going to suck at resumes thanks to Sarah's help over here. Okay, I hate to break it to you. But interviews, that is something that we will talk about. Or what you can really do is go back 2 weeks ago where Sarah and Damien were on here. And that was the best Battle Buddy live that we've ever had. We've had about triple the views on there. They did a fantastic job, and they gave a very real, straight up, here's how I like to hear from my people that I want to bring on. Here, Sarah, I'm going to ask you a question that I'm just going to think about now. Would you, and answer this any way you want, would you prefer somebody that you hire to come in competent, like they've got track record of doing this particular thing for a competitor, or would you rather have attitude be appropriate? Like if you had to pick one over the other, let's say you got someone scores a 10 on attitude, but a 2 on competency, was trainable, and then you got it inverted with the other candidate that would be walking through the door.
Definitely what we look for. Attitude is huge. If you bring a rotten tomato into your group, you're going to tank your entire team. And so the willingness to learn, the positive attitude to just always be a team player, those are huge. Competency is great, but so much of what we do is learnable. I mean, we train everybody. Not everybody comes in with a receiving background. We've got folks that have done all sorts of random stuff irrelevant to a warehouse, and yet they can learn. But the attitude, 100%, that is a huge benefit in your interview is your team player mindset, essentially.
Okay, guys. So don't come in being king shit on this, because you're going to be the Blue Falcon if you do, right? I mean, that's just a straight up thing from someone here that's on tonight with us that's hiring people often. There's and Sean, hopefully you'll go back 2 weeks and see Damien and Sarah. And, you know, if you walk in nice and relaxed and you're honest with them and you show that you're a good team player and you're not an E4 Mafia type of person who's going to sham and all this other stuff, she's going to snatch you up in a half a second being a vet, because she knows she'll pull her 04 rank on your ass if she has to, lock you up, right? You see me mean like that. I can see it.
Yeah.
See it in your
You have to
eyes.
be nice now.
Yeah. So I put into the chat the resume generators. Highly suggest Grammarly. Then when you get it so it doesn't look too horrific, you send it to 5 of your friends and have them take a look and give you feedback. Everybody's got a Karen for a friend on Facebook. I mean, literally the first one to say, I will help you, her name is Karen, on my resume about 4 years ago. And it was great because she used to sit next to me in school in English and circle shit on my English papers all the time. It was like, here, now you can do it as an adult. Watch, let's see how awesome you are, right? But when this comes to these hiring managers, it doesn't matter if you did it yourself or not. It shows that you went out of your way to make sure that it got done right at the end of the day. Anyone else have anything to add? Pete?
As you're constructing a resume, just to help people who may be struggling with that, but with regard to bullet points, keep it one thought, one bullet. I noticed a couple bullets here and there on some of your examples, Sarah, where they tried to cram in a couple of different things. And that bullet could have been broken out into 2 bullet points, because the person reading it is pressed for time and their brains are a little bit on autopilot. So make it easy for them and tell them what it is you do and how well you do it in each bullet.
Sean, you see my LinkedIn and Pete's LinkedIn on here. Feel free to send us your resume. We'll at least take a scan at it and talk to you for 5 minutes on the phone and give you some feedback, or at least I will.
Mm-hmm.
I know Pete's a pretty busy fella too, but
I might be a little unbusy for Sean.
okay, he'll give you 4 minutes then, for sure.
Make it 5. No.
Maybe 5. He charges by the hour, $100 a minute.
Whoa.
It's expensive, dude.
If only.
And if you're worried about your interview as well, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy, let me know what you're applying for, and I can certainly help walk you through, some traditional things to help talk about in your interview or things to avoid in your interview. I've sat through many, many interviews, both myself and by giving them as an interviewer. And so that there's a lot of easy things that can just help set you at ease and set you up for success. It's okay to be nervous. We know the interviewee coming in, it's a job interview. There's no easy way around that. But yeah, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to help you as well.
Hey,
and anybody in that manner.
At the top of the Facebook Battle Buddies page is a files tab. Hit that and help yourself, guys. There's plenty of resources there with regard to how to build a resume and some really good interview coaching materials there. So help yourself.
Awesome.
We have a lot of videos. I'm going to guess about 200 here that covers just about every aspect of finding a job. And I tell you what, the call to action regarding, hey, can somebody take a look at my resume? Can somebody help me prep for an interview? I've never seen less than 5 people offer their help. And this group, we are so blessed to have people that live throughout the country with a lot of years of experience who care about all of our vets in here. And they will go out of their way and take time out to help make sure that you guys are successful. That's the greatest thing about this page. And I have never heard of anybody taking $1 from somebody. Never on here. Doesn't mean that we wouldn't accept bribes, or beer. You can send beer. If you want to buy me beer, I'm open to that. I'm absolutely open to that. Pete, you open to beer, right?
Beer works for me.
Yeah, we go out and drink beer with Sarah, but she's like 5,000 miles from us in the middle of nowhere.
4 hours.
She's not quite that far, and she still comes to Minnesota once in a while. So
Once in a while.
Okay,
Party down.
We'll let you buy us beers too, Sarah. We're not.
That's great.
Not it.
Okay. Sue, any last words of wisdom for everybody on here?
No, I'm going to tag on to a couple of things. I completely agree, Chuck, when you talked about having 5 different people review your resume, because each one of them they're going to see something different and provide that feedback. Just make sure that you pick somebody that is willing to give you the hard feedback and not somebody that just goes, oh my God, it just looks great, because they're lying. They're flat out lying. If they don't find at least one thing that they have a suggestion on, they're lying, because there's always room for improvement. And when it comes to to interviews, as Sarah mentioned, the interviewer knows that you're going to be nervous, and that's okay. Just don't cover it up with cockiness, because that's going to off-put the interviewer right away. They want to know that you are going to fit in with their team, and cockiness is not going to overcome the nervousness that they already expect. So just be yourself.
I think that's a great place to end this evening.
Yeah.
Sue, you didn't tell me. We're 4 minutes over.
Oh, I wasn't too worried about
You're
it.
not a good enforcer tonight, Sue. There goes the countdown and the end down, or whatever it would be called, the wrap.
Am I fired? Okay, bye.
No, don't leave.
I have to reconsider your cool kid status.
Damn.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for joining tonight. Appreciate you watching. Like always, you have any questions, reach out, put comments in there. We're all available to help you out. So
Absolutely.
see you. Stop live stream.
Hang on a second.